weekly cross-stitching update. It's been a very busy week and I don't have a ton of stitching to show, but I do have a lot of very fun haul. I went to the attic this past weekend I met up with my friend Audrey, who is Stitch Bead. It was very, very exciting to finally meet her in person and to be able to go to the attic for the first time. It was a wonderful weekend and I will discuss more of it later in the video. First, I will show what I worked on before I left on Friday. I did get a finish. I finished this little shepherd's bush that I had started last week. What is it? To All a Good Night. I stitched it on 36 count. I think it's Patriots Brew from R&R with all of the called for threads, and there are buttons. It's so cute. There are 408 mistakes, but as it is a shepherd's bush, it doesn't really matter. Shepherd's bush patterns are very, very forgiving in that way. But it's super, super cute. I will say this chart does not show you where to put the buttons. I had to look at the picture and also look at other people's stitched ones online to figure out where to put the buttons and the beads. It has beads here in the reindeer and in Santa's hat, and then right here in the holly, and then down here in the top of this tree. Pretty random. And then there's a snowflake here, 2 snowflakes, and a star. So those are the only ones, but yeah, it didn't say where to put them at all in the chart. But it's super cute, and I do think I'd like to frame it in a really small, chunky kind of frame. I think it'd be really cute. So that is my finish. I also went to a friend's house one day last week, and I wasn't gonna bring my whole entire setup of stuff, so I just brought a project that I could do one color, and that was, I never remember the name of this chart. I don't know why. This Joyous Season from Plum Street. And I knew I had this giant house to do, so I thought I'd just bring this one and just do house. And that's what I did. So I did this whole bottom chunk of house, and I moved up and I started across here. So I did just this big chunk of house. Not a ton, but it's more done than was before. I have a mistake here and up here, and I'm avoiding going up there to figure out if it's going to work or not. And then this whole bottom is just snow. So I'm also avoiding that. I'm stitching this on 36 count vintage Meadow Rue from Lakeside Linens. It's very, and the camera's picking up red, but it's completely gray outside, so I feel like everything is kind of coming off a bit red, but super pretty. And then another whip that I worked on last week was one of my 56 count projects, which is Elizabeth Poindexter, not sure, Poindexter. And I'm stitching her on 56 count light hazelnut from XJU Designs. So I basically did everything from these letters down. All of that. It doesn't look like a lot, but 56 count, so it takes some time. Until my eyes got tired of it, basically. But I am more than halfway. I think the halfway point was right here at this A. So I am more than halfway. It'll go down to about here, I think. It'll be a cute little pillow when it's finished. And then I had 2 new starts last week. One, I started on my travels to the attic, and I stitched while down there and in airports, and that is Blizzard from Stacy Nash. Oh, all the cute threads. I'm stitching it with all the called for threads, and I'm stitching it on 40 count. What is this? Dirty You from Dames of the Needle. It's still in the hoop. He is a big white booty. But I did get his little boots done. Why does that look funny? I did get his little boots and his socks done. And then I just was stitching white in the airport. I did not stitch on the plane, either one of these legs, because the first leg was really late at night, so it was pitch black. And the second leg, I was really crowded by a couple girls in the row next to me. They were, I don't know, they were wearing really big giant clothes. And so I just felt crowded and I wasn't going to bother with it. So I just, all the stitching I did was in the hotel, which wasn't a ton of stitching time, and in the airport. But it's a good start on him. You want to know what's something funny? And I didn't realize this until Audrey was like mentioning it. The face, okay? I was looking at it like this was the nose. And so like he just didn't have a mouth. But that's the nose. And he looks like a cat. I was like, it kind of looks like a cat, right? It could be a cat. It could be my cat. Looks just like my cat. But then there's like this long nose that I wasn't even thinking was there. You could totally get away with not being there and it being a little white and orange cat. But yeah, that's its long nose. I don't know what I was thinking when I was looking at it. Like, what was I thinking that was? I don't think I was thinking it was anything. I was just like ignoring it. Just ignoring that little section altogether. But I can't even see it with the nose. I keep seeing just that. It's funny. And then my other new start was a spur of the moment because Nicola from Hands Across the Sea posted it on the Friends of Hands Across the Sea website as a free chart, her Christmas gift to us. And it was called, where is it? An Exercise in Smyrna Cross Stitch. And it's just a little one, but it looks like that. I think it's like 50 by 50 or something like that. It's just little, but it's so cute. I'd like to change the M in the middle to a J, I think. So I just kitted it from Stash. And I'm using 46 count Little Bunny from XJU Designs. And I'm using SWA 103 in color 499. And the whole border is Smyrna. I hope these are clear. And then there's like a big triangle in the center that's Smyrna. But it's not humongous. My fabric is a bit pinky. And this is kind of a pinky red. And I think it's really pretty. It could go out during Christmas or during Valentine's even, because the fabric is a bit pinky in person. Or anytime, but. So yeah. This is exactly where I left it. I was just like, okay, bye. So I would like to work on this today and maybe get it finished in before the next video, because I do enjoy doing Smyrna crosses. They're really fun. And they go very quick. Okay, get those out of the way. And that is everything I worked on. The rest of the week was spent running around with like a chicken with my head cut off, getting ready to go, getting kids to their things, all the wonderful things you do before you go on a trip. So, my trip, so the attic, I flew out on Friday night from here. My flight did get delayed a couple of times, but it is a direct flight for me from my local airport to the Mesa area, which is only like a 20, maybe 25-minute drive to the attic and to our hotel that we were staying in. And my flight was only an hour and a half, so it was just a small little short flight. Wasn't bad. We got in, she got in before me, and then she rented a car which was very, very nice. And I was very grateful. I did not have to Uber. And then she came and picked me up at the airport, and we went straight to dinner. We were starving to death. She had a much longer journey than me. And we ate dinner at the Four Peaks Brewery, which is very close to our hotel. It was like less than a 4 or 5 minute drive from our hotel. And it was really good. We had like smash burgers, and it was delicious. We were starving, so anything probably would have been delicious, but these really were. And then there was like a group of young men, I think a sports team, staying at our hotel as well. And they were let's just say they were having a very good time at all hours of the night and day. And our hotel room was unlucky enough to be right by the elevator. So they had a great time, throughout the evening, both nights that we were there. But otherwise the hotel was nice. And then the next morning we got up and went to breakfast at a place called Over Easy. And apparently they were featured on Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives. It was like a part of the spiel that the cute little waitress gave us. Thought it was funny. It was really good. Breakfast was fantastic at that place. If you're going down to that area, I definitely recommend. It was on the college. It was like either on the college campus or right next to the college campus. Really, really good breakfast. And then we headed straight to the attic, and we were there as they were unlocking the doors, taking my pictures out front. And we pretty much had the store to ourselves the whole majority of the day. There was a moment when it got a bit busy, but not like it's busy when you're there during a retreat. There was maybe 5 people in there at once. The store was beautiful, and it was very overwhelming. It is large, and there's so much stitching everywhere. It was fantastic. We set all our stuff down on one of the stitching tables and just walked all around and looked at everything. And I took a bunch of pictures that I put at the beginning of this video, I think. So, I took tons of pictures. I just tried to look at everything before clearing the shelves into my basket. Just looking at all the things, thinking about what my goals were for the trip, without completely losing my head. And it was just fantastic. The ladies there, Carolyn, and I can't remember the other 2 ladies that were there, were so sweet and helpful. And we got to see some of their process for when they're doing color conversions. She was giving us sneak peeks of the color conversion they're working on for the new Plum Street Samplers piece that was released for summer school. I can't remember what it's called, but it was the big patriotic piece. She told us it will be released next year. And so they are working on a color conversion that you can order through them, and it's going to be beautiful. So then I just kind of slowly walked throughout the room and grabbed things here and there. And after we got there at 10, and it was about 1 o'clock, and we were like, I need some caffeine. Diet Coke to the bloodstream, stat. So we went across the parking lot in the same little plaza and ate at La Familia, which is like an Italian place. And we had a margarita pizza and garlic knots and the best, crispiest, spiciest Diet Cokes. Oh, it was perfect. It was a perfect little breather, break, contemplate the things in my basket. before I go back. And then, so after we ate, we went back, and there was about 2 hours we had left in the store before they closed. So I just like went through my basket and, what do I not need to get right now? And figured out the sizes of cuts of fabric I wanted and everything. And we left the store right at the last minute. I think there was like a minute to close when we checked out and left. And what was hilarious is she was ringing up all of my stuff, and we were like, okay, what price is right? What's your total without going over? And I literally guessed it within 16 cents, which was pretty dang good. And she guessed hers within like 70 cents or something. So between the two of us, we were within $1. Amazing. That was quite exciting and fun for us. I don't know, just was really funny. So then we went back to the hotel because we were pooped, and we got in our jammies and our beds, and we laid out all of our haul, and I rolled around in it a bit, and I tossed it in the air a little bit, and then we watched a lot of Flosstube. We watched a lot of Flosstube and a lot of like Flossmas, and we watched the last few minutes of the Indiana and Ohio State game because both teams were undefeated, and so it was really close game on who was going to win. And obviously, given where she's from, she wanted the Hoosiers to win, and they did, which was crazy. The fact that Ohio lost by 1 kick, I feel bad for that kicker. Someone needs to check on him for sure. And then we watched baking competition shows, the Christmas baking competition shows, until I passed out. I couldn't handle it anymore. And then next morning we got up and had another breakfast at a place called the French Toast Cafe. And it was right on the way to my airport. So, and they had, all these French toasts looked insanely good, first of all. And we didn't end up with any French toast. Both of us got crepes, and the crepes menu was a whole page long, and they all looked so good. I ended up getting the Bueno crepes, and I don't know if you've ever seen the Kinder Bueno like chocolate bars. They're like chocolate bar with like a hazelnut cream inside, and so that was like drizzled all over my crepes, and they were so good. Very, 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 very good. And then she had to drop me off at my airport a bit early just because she was flying out of Phoenix and had to return the rental car and everything, which was fine. The airport in Mesa is very small. And I was like, fine by me. I can stitch for a few hours without children interrupting me every 5 seconds. It's basically continuation of vacation. So I found a quiet little corner with a very comfy armchair and a table with an outlet, and I watched Jingle Ball stuff and watched Netflix and stitched away for a few hours and before my flight left. And I got home about 5 o'clock. Then my family picked me up, and we came home and had dinner, and I didn't even stitch last night. I was just like tired, even though my flight was not long or grueling by any means, just tired. And so we watched some more football, and then I crashed in bed. I did not want to get up this morning. I was very tired. But it was just a fabulous trip. It was so much fun. If you can get to the attic, I highly suggest you do. Those ladies in there were very, very sweet, and it is an incredible store. So, do you want to see my haul? It's a little ridiculous and a little amazing, and I really want to start digging into it. So, I'm just gonna, well, first I will show you Audrey's Christmas gift to me, and I will include a picture in the beginning too of what I gave to her. But this is what she gave to me. This beautiful wood, she told me who makes it, but I don't remember. Wood spool holder, and your scissors go here. So I stuck my scissors in here, and it fits perfectly in my shaker, my wooden shaker tray. And these are the 2 colors that I'm stitching my threads of Christmas Past with. And you can like take these little things out and change the spool. And it's so beautiful and I love it so much. And it looks amazing in my shaker tray on my table. I love it so, so much. Okay, so I'm just going to grab things that are closest to me. I did get the silk pack for Elizabeth Stevenson. I got this chart in May when it released, but I never got around to getting the silks. And then they were kind of hard to get for a while, but I hoped that they'd still have silk packs for her, and they did. And so I grabbed one. Is it not amazing? They look like little candies. They look little candies inside. Oh, I love them so much. This whole area right here, dye. And Audrey actually gifted me the fabric that I'm going to use for Elizabeth a long time ago, or like early this summer when she came out. And it is ballet slippers from Fox and Rabbit. It's got a very, very light pinky brown tone, and I think these will be gorgeous on her. So now Elizabeth is kitted and ready to party. And then I had emailed the attic a couple weeks before I knew I was going to be there, because I had bought this chart, which is Lydia Barnes Pigeon from Scattered Seed Samplers. This was a release at Market this spring. I loved it, but I did not want to stitch it in a Veriswa. So I emailed the attic a few weeks before and asked if they would make a 103 conversion for me to pick up while I was there. And they did. And if you would like this, you can call them. They have a copy of this. They can give it to you as well. But look how beautiful these jewel-toned blues and greens are. Stunning. Oh, blues and greens are my favorite colors. I love them so much. They're so pretty. So, yeah. Love that. We're going to put all this stuff. It's going to get messy here in a minute. Okay. And then, this just kind of has some random things. So, I try to get a wooden corner gauge from every shop that I go to. Just collect them. I think it's fun. They had one left. So I got it. I got my wooden corner gauge. And they also had these really tiny, beautiful red ones. So I keep this downstairs in my shaker tray is where I will keep it. And then I just needed a few cotton over dyes. I needed these 3 for my Teresa Kogut Land That I Love. I needed these 3 colors for that. And then I needed Sanguine from Weeks Dye Works for all these animal crackers. Every single animal cracker calls for Sanguine, and I never have it. So I needed some of those. And then Audrey was stitching Henny Penny. How is this on here? Which is a newer, how did they do this? This is all coming off the card. Which is another animal cracker, like a newer one. And she was stitching it in a conversion she had made of Roxy Floss. And I do not have a large collection of Roxy Floss. I think this is 10 yards. This seems really thick. Pretty sure it's 10 yards. And so I took her colors in and was trying to match them to overdyes. And I managed to match a few. Look, I think that's 10 yards. It seems really big. So I managed to match a few of her colors she was using for Henny Penny. I just need to pull a couple more matches. She's stitching the feathers like all different. And I love it so much instead of having her all solid white. So I have a few of those for that. And then, this is also a bag of randomness. I needed a cream to stitch the Shakespeare's Peddler. I can't, like, they're called like Noel Tuffet and things like that. The ones on red fabric done in white. I have Sweeney Red from Dames of the Needle, and so I just needed this, and I want to stitch those Shakespeare's Peddler charts on it with it. And then I needed these 3 plus 2 more that they didn't have in stock to finish kitting Emma Wright, which was one of the newer hats releases. And then I needed a Soie Surfine in the same color that I'm using for Elizabeth Poindexter. I got the wrong one. Oops. Close enough. I have to do the eyelets in Surfing. And then I got 2, I've never stitched with Surfing, so I got 2 Surfing in my favorite red, which is 664. So I got 2 Surfing in this one to stitch probably Carmel Azzopardi in, which is a, let's see if I can find her, which is a red hat. This one. She's really big. I thought maybe I'd stitch her on 56 count. How big will she be on 56? She'll be 11 by 9.5 on 56. So I got these Surfings to maybe stitch her in 56. Thought that'd be fun. Okay, and then I wanted to get the Hands Across this, or no, not the Hands Across the Sea, the Addicts conversion to 103 for Harriet Hay. So I got all of those right here. They are beautiful. Look at those pinks and the reds. Oh, she's so pretty. So now Harriet Hay is all kitted up, which is very exciting. That's one of my, this is one of my favorite hats. I love the chickens and the little eyelet checkerboard fruit baskets. And then the house is so beautiful. Oh, I love it. So I got that. And then I did end up with a few charts I got from Screen Door Needleworks. The Liberty Eagle, they had this stitched. I'm pretty sure it was stitched on 46 count in their shop. It looked tiny because they had it in a little 5x7 frame or something like that. Maybe even a 4x6 frame. Probably a 4x6 frame. It was really small and it was so pretty. I loved it. So I had to get this chart to stitch next year for America's birthday. And then they had a really large clearance section. I did find a few. They had a bunch of Chessie and Me in their clearance section. So I ended up with this chart. What is it? Keep Home in Your Heart. I thought, oh, look at that little cat. I thought it was so cute and would be just the perfect little one to stay out on a shelf like all year when it's not a holiday. And then I got Autumn Harvest, which is another little autumn small one that I thought would go perfectly with Sweet Autumn Pin Keep and that other one I did with the white, with the gray barn and the cat on top of the barn. I can't remember what it's called. So I have like a little set of 3 now, which is really exciting. I was glad to have found that. And then one of the most exciting things of all that I got, this model was stitched, and the second I saw it, I was like, what in the heck is that? And that was Amelia Boyce. looking at this chart picture, it is not something I would have been like, oh my gosh, I have to stitch it. But when you see this stitched in person, in silks, on 46 count, it was stunning. It was stunning. And I was like, this is coming home with me for sure, but what the heck am I going to stitch it in? They gave us this paper, and Audrey said that she had this chart too, but she never kitted it up. So we were like, is this going to be our trip project that we do together? And so they did have a conversion to Tudor silks. They said that it was stitched in Tudor silks. But when we were going through matching the colors, we found that there was a lot of discrepancy, and it could just be that whoever stitched it in something different than what was written down. It doesn't matter. What we ended up doing was we weren't going to stitch it in Tudor silks. We really wanted to try the Gloriana Luminescence 103 overdyes. I have been wanting to try these. They are so beautiful, and they're 103s and they're overdyed. And I'm just like very, very, very excited to try these. So they let us have the model at the table in front of all the luminescence, and we were just back there pulling thread off the walls and putting it on and matching it and like making all of our notes on what we're using. And we came up with a color conversion into the luminescence, and they are so beautiful. Let's see how I can hold these up good. Oh my gosh. Okay. They are so pretty, and they're very, very soft. I love them. This is very exciting, if you can't tell. So I'm going to go through my fabric and see if I've got anything that will work for her. And we are going to hopefully be starting these very soon together, and it'll be our project to commemorate our trip with. Okay, and then before I get to my fabric haul, I know what you guys want. I know what you want. You want the fabric, and you'll get it. There's one more. When Audrey had gone to Swindon, she had ordered a yard of the called for fabric for Maria Wales Newson, which is lichen from Tabby Cat. She ordered a yard of it to pick up in Swindon, and she split it 3 ways among me and herself and Jem. So she brought that to me so that I am ready to start when the stitch along starts on January 1st. And it is beautiful. This is one of the prettiest fabrics I've ever seen. It's green or gray. I'm not sure. It's like right in between green and gray. And it's going to be stunning, especially with those reds on it. It's going to be beautiful. I'm so excited. So I've got my big piece ready for Maria when we start it in January. Are any of you joining? It's going to be fun. Okay. Fabric time. We got fabric. Okay. So I don't want to get these counts mixed up. Most of my fabric that I got here is Tabby Cat. They had a big old Tabby Cat table, so I had to. So I got a piece of 46 count Muddy Duck from Tabby Cat. So this is 46 count, but I also got 40 count. The 40 count is just slightly lighter, I think. But I really loved the color of it in the 40, so I got a half versus a quarter. Pretty close to the same, but this one is just slightly lighter and maybe a little more yellowy. I'm just picturing like something Christmas on it. Anything could go on it, but for some reason I keep picturing Christmas. So those are the beautiful Tabby Cat Muddy Ducks. I had never seen this one in person, and I'm really glad I got to. We were so lucky. They were unboxing a big Tabby Cat shipment as we were there, and so she was literally cutting these for us fresh out of the box. And then they had a new color from I think her name is Michelle, Tabby Cat. A new color she was debuting at the Attic, so it's an Attic exclusive. They do have this. If you want it, call them. It is called Superstition Shadows. It is gorgeous. It reminds me of Light Nougat from XJU Designs. So I got a quarter of it. It took a lot of strength for me to only get a quarter of this in 46. I got a quarter of it in 46. Here it is. And a quarter of it in 40. So just slightly different because, you know, the dies take a bit differently on each count. So this is my 40 count and this is my 46. The 46 has a slightly purplier undertone than the 40. 40 I would say is more of like a true brown. Beautiful, gorgeous. Everything will look good on it. Put this back in the bag so I don't forget what it is. Okay, and then you all know my tale of woe with creme brulee from Tabby Cat, which is unfortunate because it's probably my favorite fabric from Tabby Cat. But they had a ton of creme brulee. If you're looking for creme brulee in a 46 count or a 40, the Attic has got you. They had so much. So I was able to look through each piece, find which one that I want, which one of the modeling I like the best, and then pick it. So this is my piece of creme brulee, 46 count. It's perfect. I got a quarter of this one. Oh, love it. And then I have never been able to get just the ticket because it was the called for in Elizabeth Stevenson. Just the ticket is the called for fabric. So it was just, you couldn't get it because it was just gone. Anytime it'd come in stock, it'd be gone again. And they had one piece and I found it in the most random place. And I was very excited. They had one piece of 46 count. And it was a half yard, and I was like, this whole thing's coming home with me because it is absolute perfection. I have seen some Just the Tickets that are very yellowy, and this is not yellow at all. It is a beautiful, creamy, very light tan. Oh, it's so pretty. I love it. You know what? What do we think about, I was looking through my fabrics for Amelia Boyce. What do we think about this? This one you'll get a bit of ghosting, but the model was stitched on a fabric very similar to this and it was very ghosty and it was still beautiful. What do we think about that, peeps? I love when inspiration just hits like that. Okay, and then Carolyn was stitching the new Stacy Nash animal cracker, the mouse. I think it's called gingerbread or ginger or something like that. And she was stitching her in a red dress. I loved it in the red dress. And she was stitching it on, I didn't know the fabric. I just saw the fabric and I was like, what is this? It's so pretty. And she pointed to a table that was just huge piles of fabric and said, it's a new dyer. It's called Hometown Fibers, the dyer is. And it's a new dyer they're trying out. And they had beautiful fabrics. So I grabbed the color she was stitching Ginger on because it was almost pink, but not pink. I don't know if you're getting any of the pink in the lighting here. It's like when you look at it against some colors, it's pinkish, and then at some colors it's not. So I got a piece of 40 count in it because I just thought it was really pretty. So there's that. Hometown Fibers is what it's called. Oh, and this fabric is called Wheat. Wheat. And then the last piece of fabric I got at the attic, and my last piece of haul from the attic, is one piece of 56 count. There was a lot of 56 count I probably would have gotten, but I really wanted these 46s more. So I only got one piece of 56 count, and it was a needle and flax, and it was like the only needle and flax in there that I saw that I wanted, which was Brea. So this is 56 count Brea. It's so pretty. So that is the only 56 I got. And that is my attic haul. Yay. I did forget to mention Audrey brought me this cute little mill hill because I'd never stitched one, and she's like, I'm not going to stitch this one. And I actually had this on my wish list on 1, 2, 3, which is so funny. Really cute. So she brought me that too. And I guess I do have a little bit of haul from before I left for the attic. One of my friends that I have taught to cross stitch, her daughter got a 3D printer for her birthday, and she's obsessed with printing things on it, and she learned how to print floss drops. So she printed me a whole bunch of green and red floss drops, and I'm going to put all of my Prairie Schooler Santa colors DMCs on these. How cute! And then I had pre-ordered from Rachel, who is Needle and Flax. I had pre-ordered some of her Alcott. She opened pre-orders for Patreon. I pre-ordered, oh, I don't want to lose that actually, come back. Alcott in a 40 and 46 count. I just got quarters. I never had Alcott. I'd never even seen Alcott. And it is beautiful. It is so pretty. It's like, it's almost got a greenish undertone. I don't know if you're seeing it, but it's like, it's beige, but green underneath. I don't know how to explain it. It's really pretty. And I think this one she named for Louisa May Alcott, because all of her fabrics are kind of done from like books and things. So I got that in a 40, and then this, I haven't even opened the 46. And the 46. I wonder how these would look on Alcott. Alcott, it could be really pretty as well. Ooh. Ooh, now I don't know. Oh, both of those would be really nice. I wonder how similar Alcott is to Lichen, because they're both kind of greenish. This is Lichen compared to Alcott. So this is Lichen and this is Alcott. Alcott's definitely more gold, yellowy. This is more gray, green, kind of yellowy green, goldy green. Interesting. I like holding fabrics up next to each other to see. I feel like you get a true representation of color when you do that. that's it. Wow. That's all my haul. That is everything I bought. That is my wonderful, amazing, fantastic trip to the attic. So yeah, I'm not going to do any life because we didn't do anything. We didn't do anything during that week. I tried to just get us to the weekend. Shows. I did not watch very many shows, but I did finish my rewatch of Peaky Blinders. That took me, you know, like a while to do because I was just going slow. And I finished The Empress, which was so good. When it was, I didn't realize it was the last episode when I was watching the last episode, and it ended, and I was like, no. But there is a new season coming, I've been told. So that'll be good. And then, because I had nothing to watch, and we watched football Thursday and most of Friday before I left, since we have Stars now, I started The White Queen. I watched The White Queen. It's a limited series. I think it's only 10 episodes. I watched The White Queen years and years and years ago. Like, my oldest two were little. I think my middle daughter was she was a baby, like a baby, when that was out. And I watched it the first time, and I remember, like, it stuck with me because I remember I really liked it. And so I was like, well, let's have a little refresher since it's been 9-10 years since I watched it. And it is really good. And I forgot how many people are in it. Lots of people from other shows and movies, like lots of it. And I love when that happens. So I'm still in the middle of watching that. It's been very fun. But now I'm like, I want to start watching my Christmas movies. So I'll be starting to watch those. I really want to watch the new one. I think it's called Champagne something. It's the new one with Leighton Meester on Netflix. And there's also another new one that has the girl from Virgin River in it. Bernadette told me it's good. So I want to watch that too. And then all of my, you know, classics, The Family Stone, The Holiday, you know, all those that my husband doesn't want to watch with me. He likes to watch the other ones like Christmas Vacation and Home Alone and Santa Claus, 4 Christmases. That's one of our very favorites. And Christmas Carol and things. But he doesn't care much for like the Hallmark type ones. So that's fine. I watch them by myself during the day. It's even better. But that is all that I have to show today. Comment if you have any questions on anything you saw. As far as I knew, the attic still had all of these fabrics except for just the ticket. And they had just gotten a new shipment in of Muddy Duck and that Superstition Shadows. So you can call them if you want any of that. I had an amazing time, and thank you for joining me today in this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.